Hello, everyone. So we're live, right? Yes. So today we're gonna talk about a 5-year plan. If you know this idea, it was I don't know if first coined, but many people know Brian Tracy. And I remember years ago, easily like 10 years ago, I was trying to follow, let's say, his methods. And it's now 10 years later, and I didn't follow his methods exactly. But, there are some principles to rescue, some things I have myself learned. And if you're here, it's because you're a creative. So it will be interesting to talk about our own 5-year plans, let's say, or I guess many people use it as an interview question, and it has lost some meaning for some people and stuff. But I think it's a brilliant idea, especially if you're a creator that's alone and that you are very ambitious, but you cannot do everything at once. Uh, if you're a young person, you'll try to do everything at once, like I did. And it's not entirely terrible to do that. Let's talk about it and some things I have learned regarding planning, comics, marketing, etc. Before that, just gonna introduce myself. I'm MG or Gabby. Call me MG. And I am right now doing my comic, as you can see. I already have the next page sketched out, and I wanted to show you this because it's easier for me to sketch without doing a live stream or recording myself. My brain gets connected to my mouth more often. So it's easier to be coloring. That's what I'm saying, sorry. But yeah, okay, let's go with the actual topic for today, which is the 5-year plan. I think I followed another Brian Tracy technique. This is related to this, I promise. I'm not. So he said something about writing down every single goal you could think of, like all of them. Be ambitious, think everything is possible, etc. And then you're gonna choose your priorities from there. So, for example, in your case and my case, probably it was like your own story, but then also the marketing part and the you see the results part, not only the you're saying things like, I want a successful comic. You haven't exactly defined what success for your comic means, but yeah, and chances are, or at least at the moment I did that, I hadn't started my comic even. I struggled a lot with self-doubt, and it was hard for me to get started actually. But I had the goal which guided me towards that. I'm grateful to, honestly, Brian Tracy, I guess I would say, because it did give me a fun direction, and I have fun with my life. I think it's fun to have like a purpose. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you win, and you learn every time, and it's guiding you towards what you want. And the cool thing he talks about is that there's all these areas of life, right? It's not only the, hey, I don't know, I want to be successful as an artist, depending on what success to you means. It's also your health, it's also the money, it's also family, love, etc. But yeah, when I was starting, because I was a young person, and we have this expression in Spanish that says, when you're young, you want to eat the world. You want to do everything. And I think lots of things are possible. So I'm not saying that young people are naive for thinking that. I think lots of things are possible, and I think it's super cool to go for it because you will learn. That's what happened to me. In some ways, I have felt, or I used to feel at some point, that I failed. But honestly, I have learned so fucking much. At one point, I forgot about this technique. I think this also happens. You make this exercise, maybe you write it down in a paper, but then where is that paper, right? But you know what your goals are, like you remember them every day. If you're actually serious about them, I know many people aren't, but if you're here and you have a creative project, like a comic or a book or animation, whatever, yeah, chances are you're working at this, chipping away, or maybe even if you're not working on it right now, like you're practicing your skills here and there on top of working on other things, taking care of their family. Oh, hello, Aki. So thank you first for saying hi, even if you ugh, even if you can only be here for a while, means a lot. Okay, where were we? So I guess the 5-year plan, 10-year plan, or whatever year plan, I many people, and that was also me, you end up using it as a compass, which is not, it's not wrong at all. Actually, it helps a lot. But at one point, I guess I was trying to do so many things. I was trying to have, I was studying engineering at that time. I was trying to build a YouTube channel. I was trying to build 2 comics, writing and art of 2 comics, which was something. And there's so many projects, so many stories I have done that I have never finished. And I feel bad about it. Or I have tried different careers because I knew I wanted to do comics and I knew I wanted to have fun earning money. But I wasn't sure what to do. I tried engineering, I tried being a video editor, I became actually, I don't know if I should say try, because I did work of these things, but you know, engineering and animation, Spanish tutor, project manager, virtual assistant, video editor. I didn't work in all of those things. Some of them I only studied or did interviews. Some of them I did work on those things. I even worked as a comic artist. That's actually when I earned the most money. That's funny, right? But you know, that's when I earned most money in my life. It was amazing. I thought that was my future at one point. And I think it's still my future. I'm gonna explain the 5-year plan I have and the 10-year plan I do have a little. But point is that I think this is common in artists. We're fascinated by many things, not only art. What's not maybe that common in artists, which I do have, is that I actually like math and I like so many things. So I was struggling sometimes to be like, okay, so as a comic artist, that's where I earn the most money, when there's a client, but there's not always a client. And also my health is shit, so I cannot be drawing like 100 hours a week, to draw for a client on top of drawing for myself. So I don't know, I was all over the place. I think maybe if you want, you can share your own experience. What do I have here? Oh, I see, there was a great mistake here. Okay. But I feel like this happens to many people. I was actually having fun listening to... So I have my, let's call parasocial YouTubers. It's not like I think they're my friends. I just enjoy watching them every once in a while. And so many comic artists go through the same struggle of, hey, what do I do for a job? Do I get something that gives me little money? Can I afford that to have more time to do comics? Some people that I have found like this they have a husband or someone supporting them, and that's awesome. Honestly, I have myself have been privileged enough to get a lot of support in that regard. Not a husband, my dad mainly. Um, but it's also interesting because some of them, they are also choosing a very big adventure already, which is children, for example. And they're like, oh no, I don't have time to do comics because I have children. And it's like, yeah, children are a beautiful dream goal and something very worthwhile and fulfilling that already is gonna feel a lot of your time. It's gonna become everything. So if you love comics more than your kids, that's a problem. Um, so you should really, really, really want kids and think about it. And I think this happens a lot as well because, okay, this is a separate issue, but obviously a lot of comic artists are men, or at least when I started doing comics, there were more men, I guess. And of course, they don't think of that much. So it's kind of cute. It's like, oh, they're discovering that kids are actually, like, women think about this all the time, but men, I guess, not as much. I don't know. I'm obviously, this opinion comes from the particular bloggers I was watching, so that doesn't mean anything of the whole population. But I thought that was cute. It's also like a lesson on how much you can take. Like I always talk about that mom that she's very, very successful in comics and she has children and she wakes up at 3:30 a.m. And it's like, yeah, like a certain level of production, there are certain choices. It's just interesting how everyone lives their life. I find it fascinating. It's one of the things I adore about meeting different people is like, how do you personally live? I just find it beautiful how everyone has their thing and how they organize it, and how they build their happiness from something very different from what I know. It's very, very cool. I don't know if you know. There's a particular word for this, but this fascination for humans just existing. Lots of content about that, and there's a lot of people that enjoy watching other humans just like, wow, such a such a rich different life than mine. It's just so cool. Okay, but other than that, this is also because the 5-year plan, if you don't get it, or in my case, for example, I didn't fully get everything, but I got some things, it's still a life worth celebrating. We're not machines that we're gonna follow a plan perfectly. We're designing just a life that we love, hopefully. And I think the cool thing about a 5-year plan, whether you follow it or not, is just realizing where your priorities are. Like, I never made it fully conscious, and I'm gonna share it. I have like a screenshot I'm gonna share later for my own plan. But honestly, at the end of the day, I try now to have only 3 goals at once. The funny thing is there's many mini goals in those goals, but yeah, 3 main goals. But there's actually always 4. And number 0, and it's the one that I find most important, and most people are gonna relate, people with children too, is that number 0, or before everything else, is love and adventure. So let me give you an example. Maybe if you are doing a comic but you're not public with it yet, for some reason you're not super accountable to do it, and somebody invites you in a wonderful vacation, would you be like, no, I need to do the comic? Or would you go? Or would you try, to do more pages, but also go on the vacation? Or you have a family member that needs you, chances are you would drop everything, and you would, go help, and because it's family, because it's love. So that's my point, right? And this goes for people that choose children too. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful dream. Someone close to me just had a baby, and it's lovely, so cute, such a lovely little girl. So I don't know. I think just fascinating. I think this is me trying to express respect for everyone. But it's also true that I do consume lots of content of just people living their lives and with different choices. There's a limit to how much I watch, of course. I love YouTube blogs. And of course, I especially like seeing writers, comic artists. But, sometimes it's only, people drastically different. And it's fascinating to see how people work, especially if they're creatives. Okay, I guess my brain stopped working a little. Let me see my notes. Okay. So I tried everything when I was young, and I think that's not wrong to do. I think there's always this phase where you are forced at a very young age, like 18, to decide what the rest of your life will look like. And chances are that's gonna change. I remember I judged my sister at one point for wasting money because she tried medical school, and then she realized that she preferred the lifestyle that being a psychologist would bring. And I think I knew that when I watched her, but of course you need to let people figure it out. But I think it's cool to give space to figure it out. When I was younger, I thought, no, you need to be certain, but there's no way to be certain. You learn so much. Where did my page go? Okay, here you are. It's so hard, and then you change your mind, and then you try another thing. But I think that's cooler if you have the opportunity to do so. Again, it's very different when you do different choices. But if you are if you're young, nobody depends on you, it's cool to dare to change your mind. But also, it is a big deal. I don't think I myself have changed my mind like 1,000 times, and I feel a little embarrassed about that. But it's not bad in retrospective, because you do find your way. And I think there's a lot of fear in influencing the decision. So you can go for something wholeheartedly, but it's coming from fear. So yeah. I was listening to not only listen to myself, because whatever, I'm gonna tell my own story in a bit, but someone big that you may know is Barbara Corcoran, for example. And I was listening to a podcast where she was talking about how she used to be a waiter. I mean, now she's a super big, I guess, billionaire, and she was in Shark Tank for like 15 seasons, who knows how much. And she has tried. She's like a made woman. She has her own life. She has lots of success. I don't want to be a millionaire personally, but because I don't want to do the the work that takes it there. But I think she's a cool case of, she wanted something, she went for it. So she was talking that she did like 20 jobs before she knew what she wanted to do. And to not feel bad for experimenting, because that's how you know if you like something or not. And then honestly, that message and her success made me feel better about having tried so many things. And I learned so many lessons. And for example, the other day I was feeling bad because the last thing I tried and gave up I have become faster about getting rid of things that do not serve me. Thank goodness, instead of being in the sunk cost fallacy and just stay there because I'm like, no, I already decided this. How embarrassing to change your mind. So the last thing I gave up was being a project manager. And I did the whole thing. I studied so much for it. I had this notebook with so many notes. I was taking a course. You have to do like 23 hours of coursework. And because I was starting with not much experience, I knew that I had to take an exam to prove my abilities. So I was studying for the exam while I was still working on the side on other things. Mainly as a Spanish tutor and a little bit. But yeah, I had paused actually on other gigs I had tried, because I thought project manager, when I researched about it, it was like, okay, if I need to go for a job that's like safe, quote unquote safe maybe, but this one has very good room to grow regarding money. But honestly, my goal, I mean, it would be cool to make more money than I do now, but my goal has always been like to have a balanced life as much as possible and to have as much time as possible to also do my projects and continue working out. So that's one of the main reasons I had decided to be a freelancer. But then I was like, no, maybe a freelancer, my family is gonna be disappointed because they're gonna need support soon, and I need more money. And I had tried being a video editor. I worked a little bit at it, but I made a huge mistake that once I corrected it, everything changed. And it's so stupid. I talked about this in a conference actually. The mistake was that I made beautiful profiles everywhere, in every site I could think of. I did beautiful profiles. Beautiful, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. I was putting so much attention in, like, hey, find me in this site, and find me in this site, and find me in this site. But then once I did all that job, and I did the CB, and I did, and then I just sat there, and I didn't promote it. It's like, you have to promote. It's the people who don't know that you're doing anything. Like even me selling services of doing comics, there was a point where I got so used to people coming to me instead of me coming to them. I forgot you need to tell people, hey, I do this so you can pay me if you want, That's why ads exist. And that's why, I live in Mexico. There's so many sellers in the street all the time. And it's because that's how you find out among all the noise that someone is selling something. So when people are like, I'm selling commissions, you may be like, oh, I actually, maybe I would want one. But if they don't say it, they don't say, hey, I'm selling commissions, or I'm doing commissions rather, then how would you know? So yeah, that was a very stupid mistake I did, and it's very common apparently. I was preparing this conference for a university here in Mexico, and and while I was preparing the conference, I was talking one of my biggest mistakes and introducing the Pareto principle, which is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts or causes. So, for example, this helped me a lot when I was trying to earn more money, and I realized that teaching Spanish to children was not worth it for the amount of money. And it's also not my main priority. My priority is, I had other priorities, not Spanish tutoring. So I was like, why am I getting exhausted working like 6 hours for a half an hour class? It's ridiculous. And earning so little, it's so stupid. So yeah, Pareto principle is amazing. It helps so much. And I was searching for more examples, and I was like, okay, so what are other examples of Pareto principle in action? And it was right there staring me in the face. It was literally the doing. There was a very specific language, but it was just something like appearing pretty instead of doing sales actions. And it sounds very corporate when I say it like that, but what I mean is what I just said, that, hey, I'm selling video editing services for YouTube. And I got a line of clients once I fucking finally started promoting myself. I was like, oh my God, that's all I needed all along. Like, I did have the experience. I have been editing YouTube videos for myself for a long time, and I did learn a lot, and I can provide that level of service to others. And that allows me to earn money in something where my self-esteem is not in. If someone tells me, hey, your video is ugly, I don't care. If you tell me if my art is ugly, I don't care either, but it's harder to be like, hey, I'm gonna charge. I don't know. It's just easier. And also health-wise, it makes a lot of sense that I already spent so many hours doing comics. And my body, because of the hernia that I have in my cervical spine, resents it sometimes if I overdo it. So if I were working as a comic artist, which is still possible, I would just do more yoga, I guess. But if I was working all day for a client and then I'm doing my own comic, that's the same posture, the same chair, the same finger, hands, positions. Meanwhile, when I'm doing video editing, at least I switch the the way I grab the mouse, because I'm not grabbing like this, so it's just a varied thing, and I have an orthopedic mouse. If I want to, it hasn't been necessary, thank goodness, but if I want to, I can even work standing up. It feels like, because of the tablet and everything, I do need more when I draw. So I'm very excited about that. So, returning to the 5-year thing, I think one of my mistakes was that I was fueling my motivation by fueling my want of my goals and my lack then. It's not terribly bad, but it can there's like a balance there. And I was being very perfectionistic about my schedule. And I think it's also that focusing on the wrong objectives or goals also plays a part. So I think it's even more important to keep always the habits that you are gonna do even on vacation, maybe. Like, hey, the way you wake up, the way you go to bed. And the only thing I have very specific is do something comic related, even 25 minutes a day, or maybe even 15 is better than nothing. Because again, there's so many other obligations. So I wanted to actually show you. Thank you for being here, by the way. You cannot see what I'm doing right now, hopefully. Oh yeah. So I'm opening because I'm gonna share my 5 to 10 year plan. It's actually a 5-year plan, but in my mind I'm also seeing like 10 years. because I think my biggest mistake I have done over the years is I start a comic, then there's a comic contest and another comic fits. So then I stop that comic and I start that other comic. Sorry, I stop the comic I'm doing and I start the next one. And then I don't finish any of them because then I don't get any results in the comic contest. I'm ignoring contest at all costs. Like, everyone sends me like, hey, there's this contest. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just gonna finish the comics I already started. I'm not gonna start new ones. Please, I need to finish something. And this happens to me with everything I have been. Like, if you ask what's the result I have, like if I have a tangible result of all those years of working super, super hard, there's indeed results, but there's nothing finished. There's a YouTube channel, you can see it here. I mean, I'm very proud, 1,000 something subscribers. I cannot keep going right now because I don't have the time, but I'm okay. I'm at peace with it. And yeah, I'm saying 5-year to 10-year plan in case this gets extended. How do I share the screen? Oh, I guess I need to add the individual thingy. Display capture. Create new. Okay. So I'm gonna show you this image if I can, and if I cannot. Okay, let's change what I'm showing you. Should I share this? Okay, I'm gonna start with this. Obviously, this should be personal, honestly, but I feel like it's fun. And it's not the first time I have shared, by the way, goals that I haven't achieved. I have so many videos of these are my New Year's resolutions, and I almost never fully did what I intended, which also made me feel bad. So these goals are tentative, but these are just my main principles, right? You can see in the screen. Number 0, as I told you, love and adventure. That's at the end of the day, if nothing else, there's that. Then my health. I do have a hernia in the cervical spine, well, according to my doctors. And I have some issues, so I have to always work out, keep the muscle, and that allows me to be pain-free and able to do my activities. So health is super important. Then career, right now it's video editing and Spanish tutoring. I'm actually trying to kind of maybe stop doing Spanish tutoring, but I do keep some students that, I mean, I think it allows me to enjoy life. I don't know. It's cool. And then third is the comic, which is a passion project, something I love, something I will never stop doing. This makes it seem like it's less important. It doesn't mean it's less important. It just means that, honestly, when I'm in vacation, sometimes I just prioritize, working out, or because if not, I will start feeling pain or more. But yeah, I'm gonna share you then the 5-year plan. Okay, how do I do this? Okay. Again, this is like a compass, not written in stone. But I don't know if you can even see it all. Okay, so for this year, and as you can see, I have many income sources I want to go building, but I'm not gonna focus on all of them at the same time. I'm gonna be focusing on them slowly, and once I already dominate, ideally, the other ones. So I managed to, right now, I make honestly, I'm a little broke, but I have been okay with it so far because I've been like prioritizing my time. But I do want to stop that. I do want to do more in that regard. So video editing, it's something I'm enjoying for a fun life. I really didn't want, I studied engineering. I was like, no, I don't want to code for a living personally. Just so frustrating. So if I'm working until 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm doing coding, that seemed miserable to me because I love I do enjoy coding, but there's a limit to how much. So yeah, video editing was way better, and I'm enjoying it so much. I'm already working with clients, and it's so much fun. Of course, right now my priority is the Winter Secrets comic, the one you're seeing me work every Sunday in this live stream. Can I open this for myself? So, and I have a project flying away. That's maybe a secret, but yeah, not gonna talk about that one that much. But as you can see, this is even has my age, because I guess at some point I was like, I should accomplish things before I'm 30, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna be alive, hopefully, so just be okay and imagine myself at 35 years old doing this. This is planned to be stacked on top of each other, so I'm gonna still be a video editor for a job, but as a freelancer, which is fun. I have my flexibility, I have time to do comics on the side, and this also allows me the comfort of, okay, right now you don't have time to work the YouTube channel that much or this other comic that much, but that's okay. That's okay. You're gonna get there one day. And right now, just focus on this and do not get stressed about what you're not doing, because it will get done. It's just right now, you cannot do 30 things at once. Focus on the least things as possible. And I think that's super cool. About the... And, if someone asks me what's my 5-year plan, I don't know it by memory precisely. So that's why I have the notes, but it allows me, and I think anyone that does this, to focus on few things in a year, to actually do them well, to actually finish them, to actually have a very good foundation on top of which the other ones follow. And going back to the young person trying everything, and that not being wrong, even if they don't finish something or if they don't accomplish their own end goal, they're learning, and then plans will become more sophisticated. If something I learned about project manager thing is that the more you know about your field, like for example, when I started, when I knew I wanted to make a comic, but I hadn't started a digital comic ever, there was a very big learning curve at some point, and I was afraid, and I don't know, I was having issues. But now I know perfectly. So it's like, okay, now I know that if I set this goal, it's realistic or not. Like I understand this can take me more than this year. And again, that's why I say this is a 5 to 10 year plan. So it can be like, hey, this year wasn't actually enough to work on this. So it will be postponed to next year. And honestly, I'm very excited, because after 10 years, I'm gonna have 2 comics that I'm proud of. And I'm so more relaxed. I allow myself to sleep and to rest, to not burn out again, because I already burned out very horribly. And that's way, way more unproductive than overworking myself like 60 hours a week or 80 to achieve my dreams and stuff. I think at one point I was writing in my goals like, hey, I have the YouTube, I have the comic, I have the get a job goal, or like, a more sustainable one. But I was like, I forgot. Oh, whatever. I was all over the place, but I'm very excited with the 5-year plan now. And I think it is a fun exercise for anyone, no matter what their life is. Also, as you can notice, I do not do lots of marketing right now for my comic. I'm focused on the comic production, and the other things are a little bit of priorities. And And that allows me that when I'm tempted, like in the morning, I was promoting this live stream, right? And I was like, okay, what would I need to promote it more? And I was like, do shorts, do reels, do more than what I'm doing. And I was like, okay, I cannot do that right now. I'm gonna keep this alive. I'm gonna keep this going. But I'm not gonna stress myself out doing more marketing than what I have bandwidth for. I also like enjoying my life. So if I did that, I would have to sacrifice other things that I'm not willing to sacrifice. So I'm like, you know what? This comic this year, it's not gonna be probably published besides Patreon. And I'm advancing very slowly, so it's okay. It's okay to not do reels or shorts right now. This live stream is what I can do because I don't have to edit. I just show you. I just connect, and it's awesome. But slowly, and that doesn't mean I have given up on my goals. They're just cooking. Well, I have already extended a lot. If you have questions or comments, please feel free. I would adore to read them. And thank you so much for joining this live stream about Winter Secrets, which, as you can see, should be able to be published maybe. I don't even know if I'm gonna, right now when I see the goal of, hey, you're gonna do a Kickstarter for this book, for this comic, I'm like, am I? Like, I feel this imposter syndrome of this. Is it good enough for that? I'm gonna see when that time comes. Right now, I'm not worrying. I'm just doing my best. So, I love my... this is like the direction I'm going. So, do you have a 5-year plan? Do you have things that are very important to you, love-wise, adventure-wise, that go even before? How do you organize your life? I think it's fascinating how each person does it. That sounded very corny, sorry, but it's true. But okay, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.